All right, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Why You Don't Have Friends. This is Alexander Leslie Walton, your host, aka Big Daddy. So today we're going to be talking about social anxiety. Usually I'm not going to cover the same topic in a row a bunch of times, but I got a lot of response to the last video and I wanted to do something off the top of the head. So today we're going to be going through Reddit/social anxiety, okay? And I'm going to be answering those questions for you. For those of you who don't know Reddit, it's a huge website. Basically, there are different categories on the website, depending on what you're interested in. And social anxiety is a big category on the website. It has 153,000 people who are subscribed to the page. As I went in here recently, and I've noticed that there's a lot of posts, a lot of people are not getting a response. So I just wanted to go through, respond to some of these people who might otherwise not get a response, and then and hopefully you'll get something out of it. All right. A boy likes me and it's making my anxiety worse. I used to be able to feel comfortable and
Apologies, I don't understand.
hey, I wasn't talking to you. Can you believe her? Unbelievable. Again, a boy likes me, it's making my anxiety worse. So she says, I used to be able to feel comfortable and calm. I don't know if it's a girl, actually I should say that. It could be a guy as well. I used to be able to feel comfortable and calm in my house, but now I can't even do that. There's a guy that I like, and he likes me back. We met at a party, and I usually always drink at parties, and I got drunk at this one. I've seen him at 2 other parties, and I kind of knew him, but never really had a real conversation with him. We kissed, but then there were some misunderstandings, and it ended with me insulting him minutes before I left, and now he wants to talk about it. But I can't do that because I only had the courage to meet him because I was drunk. I don't know what to do because my anxiety has gotten really, really bad. I feel like I should just push him away and forget all about that because I can't be at peace. Okay, that's a terrible solution. It sounds like, well, you say right here that you like him and that he likes you back. So you're having, this is one of the most common types of anxiety for us to feel, folks. One of the most common types of anxiety for us to feel is nervousness around the opposite sex, particularly someone who we're interested in. And let me just be clear, it doesn't have to be someone, I'm going to have to start saying that. It doesn't have to be someone of the opposite sex, same sex, other sex, in between, whatever you like. We tend to feel nervous around those people, at least people who might experience social anxiety. Very, very common. So she says, he or she says, I don't know what to do because my anxiety's got really, really bad. She wants to push him away. I'm just going to say she. Don't push him away. That's not a good move. You sounded like he already did that. You insulted him. He wants to talk about it. So he hasn't shunned you yet, but you're still nervous to meet up with him because of the anxiety. So here's a little tip. If you go back to my recent video, it's called Do You Have Social Anxiety? How to Know If You Have Social Anxiety. EC social anxiety test. You can see it. I'll link it somewhere. In that video, I talked about the actual definition of social anxiety and the symptoms. So one of the symptoms that you have social anxiety, and she clearly does, is to be nervous about someone else noticing that you're anxious. So people with social anxiety get anxiety if they think someone might see that they're anxious. So they tend to keep to themselves, right? I have a hack for that. I suggest you just tell him that you're a little bit nervous. Just own it. Own up to it. Because if you do that, first of all, you're being honest, and almost always being honest can solve your problems. It might create more problems before you solve problems with it, but honesty is almost always a good policy. You know, they say honesty is always the best policy. Almost always is, okay? So that being said, if you just tell him, hey, you know what? I really like you. But I'm nervous. I get nervous around you because I like you so much. And the fact that we were able to drink before made it easier. I do like you. I just need you to know I'm nervous. And maybe you can help me through that. Maybe you can make it easier for me. Basically expressing what you feel you have to hide, because we tend to believe, if we have social anxiety, that we're not worthy of a loving relationship. By telling him, by fessing up to that thing that you feel like you have to hide, it's not a guarantee that it's going to work out with him, but it is going to be a burden off of your shoulders. And over time, living that way, it will help. Okay? So I would just let him know, hey, I do like you. Basically, tell him what you told Reddit. You told the whole internet, tell your crush. I think he'll appreciate it, and it may sort of break down that barrier, that wall between you. All right? Good luck. Next question. Afraid of meeting people I know in public. This is by Posty Malonsky. Wow, that sounds familiar. That's a cool name. It sounds like you could be popular like in the hip hop scene or something. He says, hey, I'm a 22-year-old guy with social anxiety. My social anxiety has increased a lot since I got my own apartment. It is especially when I'm out in public alone. It feels like everyone is staring at me, like they know I have anxiety. Very common, by the way. One of my biggest fears is meeting someone I know in public, and it is affecting me a lot. I'm getting anxiety thinking about going grocery shopping, meeting someone I know. If I meet someone I know, I immediately feel the anxiety. My lips start twitching, and it is so embarrassing. Sometimes I'm considering not going home and visiting my parents in my hometown because I'm afraid to run into my ex-girlfriend from 3 years ago at the train station. Wow. Fair enough. Do any of you guys feel the same? Maybe have some tips. Also, what are your experience seeking medical help for social anxiety? Thanks in advance. Okay. He says his anxiety has increased since he got his own apartment, which is interesting, but not that surprising, I guess, because like I said in previous videos, I've had social anxiety, dealt with it most of my life. All right. And I know for sure when I was really struggling with it, I would go into hibernation. I would go into my cave and I would keep to myself. And if I had my own apartment, oftentimes I could go for weeks without seeing anyone, really, like maybe little interactions in the market or something. But basically I could keep entirely to myself. And the more that you stay stuck inside your head, thinking the thoughts which lead to your anxiety, because all anxiety is future related. All anxieties are derived from future what ifs that you project and catastrophize in your mind. So if you're not thinking those things, for example, if you have a meditation practice and you have a way to calm and slow those thoughts, that's good. But if you don't have that, then you're just swimming around in these crazy thoughts all the time. And if you're not going out of your house because you have your own house and because you maybe have your own apartment, no one's there with you, so you don't have to see anyone. You can walk around stinky without showering. You could, in your underwear, you know what I mean? You can neglect to take care of yourself and allow yourself to devolve. So yeah, this is huge. But first of all, to address the medical thing, I haven't ever sought out medical help for social anxiety, but I have for anxiety in general back in the day. While it didn't work for me, I didn't really try it for that long, and I didn't really want it to work either. I kind of wanted to figure it out on my own. I didn't feel comfortable taking the medicine, although I should say that's just because I felt very strongly that I would be able to beat it myself. I suggest going to a doctor if you've tried the other options. Medication should be a last resort support option, not a frontline defense recommendation. Okay? That being said, what I think you need to do, brother, is go outside. You've got your own apartment now. You have nothing. If you're not living with your parents, you're not seeing them around the house. So you're seeing less people potentially, and you might be keeping to yourself. So what I want you to do is go watch this video or the video already linked, the previous one, and meditate. Expose yourself to your fear. Do both of those things daily, and you'll see progress. Good luck. Someone please beat the social anxiety out of me. Ouch. One Republic fanboy says, so I have a major crush on this girl. She is officially announced as the hottest girl in the college. Wow. And has a great personality. She even tries maintaining eye contact when I creepily look at her and even gave a smile sometimes. And I just look away like a dumbass I am. She often walks by me. I think she checks my height. I am not that tall, but taller than her. Everyone in the class knows that I am very shy and only talk to selective people. A few days ago, she tried to initiate a conversation, which is very rare for a girl in India. This is in India. She tried to initiate a conversation with me about something we had to write on our file, which I think she knew what has to be written, and then proceeded to borrow my pen even when she was surrounded by her friends and could have borrowed from them. And I just answered her questions and gave her the pen, and then nothing. I stood there like a dumbass and then walked away later. Okay. First of all, man, well done for posting. Okay? It takes balls. Second, for acknowledging that you have an issue. But I have to caution you, bro, because it sounds like you're being really hard on yourself. Okay, the headline, someone beat this social anxiety out of me, that's actually funny. It made me laugh. But it also, then as you continue here, you call yourself a dumbass. Here you say, I just look away like a dumbass I am. When I creepily look at her, then I stood there like a dumbass and walked away. So you're really hard on yourself here. And it's so common, right? When it's so common to have that inner voice in our head. It's not really on our side. It's not really helpful. And that's sounds like that voice is pretty heavy in your head and it's showing up here. So here's the thing about this is when you want to try to clean up your thinking, okay? When you're thinking and writing here that you're creepily looking at her, it sounds like she's trying to, you say she's even maintaining eye contact with you. And she asked you to borrow a pen even when she could have asked her friends. I mean, there's little signs here that she likes you back. You say she's announced as the hottest girl in the college. I don't know what that means because we don't really do that in America. Maybe they have like an Indian tradition where everyone votes on the hottest girl in the class. I mean, officially announced. That's hilarious. But that being said, you are hurting yourself in your thinking here. If she's looking at you trying to maintain eye contact and she likes you, but you're in your head thinking, you're looking at her and you're also thinking like, oh, I'm creepy while you're looking at her, it's going to make you creepy. It's going to manifest. Your thoughts will manifest as reality. Okay, so here's what I would suggest to you is to, as opposed to trying to be smooth or suave or anything, I would just try to, first of all, are you a good person? Do you think, are you a creepy person on purpose? Do you want to be a creep? No? See, I know for sure in the past I felt creepy at times when I was uncomfortable with my own desire, right? I'm like, especially when I was younger and I was going through puberty and just hot girls being around me, and I would just be so aroused by all the women and didn't know what to do with that arousal. That felt creepy. I felt ashamed to be sexually attracted to all these girls around me at these early stages. I felt ashamed. And that made me feel at the time like I was a creep because I was not comfortable with my desires, right? And when you're battling inside your head, one part of you wants to be with this girl, and the other part of you thinks that you don't deserve her. So you're battling. And that creates this dissonance, this strange behavior in you. And it looks creepy as well. Okay? It looks like uncertainty. So what you need to do, buddy, what I suggest anyway, is to own that you might be shy. That's okay. It's all right to be shy. She might be a little bit more comfortable than you. That's okay. But it seems like she likes you. And she might not. And it doesn't matter either way. But what is important is that you clean up your thinking. All right? So try to watch for that stuff where you're calling yourself a dumbass. Think about that in a different way. Try to think about it like you're working on yourself. You're not perfect. And there's a lot of men out there who wouldn't even try to change for the better. A lot of men would just look at that girl, want her, and then be angry at themselves and angry at her that they can't have her. And so I want to challenge you to step it up a bit and be better than those men and become someone worthy of this girl. Become someone who this girl might be attracted to, okay? And to do that, you have to start to learn to love yourself. And to do that, you need to start to own where you're at. Accept that you don't have a lot of experience. Accept that you're not as confident or smooth as you want yet. And if you just start to own it and be like, yeah, I'm kind of a nerd, kind of awkward, kind of a dork, shy, whatever it is, and just feel the discomfort anyway, that could help. All right? Good luck. Kevin James Schott says, I have these days where I feel so tired, isolated, and angry. Currently having one of those days. I don't know what it is, but it sucks. If I'm somehow out and about, I'm actually pretty rude to people. I give very uninterested looks, barely greet others. It's almost like I'm a living zombie. I just feel like I want to curl up in a blanket and cry, or at least listen to sad music and think about all my failed experiences. Yikes. I hate how I am. I just feel so angry and annoyed sometimes. I want to isolate myself, but also don't. I guess I want the positivity of being surrounded by people who care about you without the actual people included. I have no idea what those gloomy days really signify. I just feel like I hate everyone. I don't want to make eye contact, open my mouth, or even fake a smile like I usually do. I don't want to be around anybody, and I don't want to be judged. On top of it all, I feel so damn ugly. I usually feel that way. But along with being so tired and annoyed, I feel like a slug. I wish it had been different for me. Maybe being born social and not an asshole would have been nice. Whoa. This is dark stuff, okay? And sorry you're hurting, bro. Sorry you're hurting, brother. You're having one of those days. Tired, isolated, and angry. You find yourself being rude to people against your will just because of your inability to hold eye contact. Okay, what's going on here? You're feeling a lot of shame. You're feeling a lot of shame and self-hatred. I mean, it's palpable. My heart is pounding. I want to answer this well for you so I can help you get through this. I feel the pain through the screen, okay? But this is good news for you. This is positive stuff. Pay attention. We're gonna solve this over the next few minutes, okay? You are dealing with a lot of shame and self-hatred. And you're a good person. That's why you're upset when you act rude to people unwillingly. One of the darkest parts about this is that you just feel like you want to curl up and cry. That part is common. But then you say, or at least listen to sad music and think about all my failed experiences. I hate how I am. We get stuck in these cycles, man, right? We get stuck in these cycles. And right now you're in a cycle. And the real problem, when you're where you are now, you have so much work ahead of you in your mind to get where you want to be, right? We have this mountain of fears, people with social anxiety, this mountain of fears, and we see the whole mountain and we look at it and it's like unbelievably intimidating. And we think, I can't even do a simple basic thing. How could I possibly climb that whole mountain? And it's enough to just make you want to quit. But the problem is with that thinking is that it's inaccurate, first of all, and it's like this addiction cycle of negative thinking. You can't get out. You don't want to feel tired, isolated, and angry. You want to be full of energy. You want to have company and friends. You don't want to be angry. That's not what you want. That's the opposite of what you want. And so the problem is this is going to take some time, okay? But I promise you, if you just do what I'm about to tell you, this will all work out for you, okay? You have to meditate 5 or 10 minutes every day. And you have to go out. You have to expose yourself to the things you're scared of every day. That's it. Start small. Start small, okay? Those two things, meditation plus exposure to your fear. Those two things work. This is what it's going to be like for you if you want to change this. It's going to be tough. The hardest it's ever going to be is right now. You might have a few occasions throughout your life, a few that are as challenging as right now. But this is the hardest it's ever going to get. It will never be harder than this, okay? So if you can move one step forward, you've just done the absolute hardest thing. Way harder, it's way more challenging to take that step from where you are to where you want to be. Like, let's just call it a step, meaning like 30 days worth of progress or something. That's the hardest thing. Someone without social anxiety, the natural, charismatic folks, popular people who you look at and you probably feel envious of, those people will never have to face this kind of challenge. They will never know that struggle. They won't have a chance to develop the badass character that comes from going through and slogging through this period you're in right now. Let me say that again. The most popular person that you admire, the celebrity, the social wizard, the charismatic kid in your class, all of those people who you've looked at throughout your life and been like, damn, I wish I was more like that person, those naturally social people. They will never have the benefit of gaining the strength and confidence that comes from beating what you're going through right now. Okay, I know because I used to feel this way as well. And I used to look at those people who are naturally social, naturally confident, charismatic, comfortable. And I would feel less than them. I thought, I don't have those skills. I'm worth not as much. I'm worth less. And now, well, I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way at all. So your entire thought process is centered around trying to figure out what's wrong with you. And that's why you just want to listen to sad music and think about all your failed experiences. You're asking yourself the wrong questions. You're asking yourself, what's wrong? Why am I like this? Why this? Why that? And dude, here's the thing about questions. You ask yourself a question. If you ask your brain a question, it will look for the answers. So you have to ask good questions. I mean, this could be really useful. The questions you're probably asking yourself are like, what's wrong with me? And when you ask yourself that question, your brain looks for evidence. So all day you're finding evidence of things that are wrong with you and why you are this way. That, again, you're actually not probably as much this way as you just think you are. I mean, if we could just switch, if I could take your brain out and just like scrub it real quick and put it back, you would just find that you're not so encumbered. You would still be like slightly awkward perhaps in certain ways because you hadn't had the experience still of being like a popular badass guy maybe. But my point is that if you can make a radical shift in your head, radical things can happen. So how do you do that? Again, meditate and daily fear exposure. God, I wish I could help you more, man. This was a bummer to read this, and I don't think I've really answered this very well. And this is part of the problem about doing these off the top of the head as opposed to really sitting down and thinking it through and looking at it. I haven't looked at these before recording or anything. You know, this is all just off the top of the head. So, guys, I appreciate you watching, though. This was the first of many. I'm going to be doing a series of these ongoing. Yeah, it's fun. I can just sit down, have a beer, read through these things, and just, it's a little bit simpler. I can produce more content. I can help out more people this way. So I'm going to be doing these again in the future. If you enjoyed it, definitely hit that subscribe button. If you want to help me out, hit the like and comment below. You know, I don't dislike it or like it. I don't mind, whichever thumb. Just click a thumb, and then in the comments, leave me something. Let me know. All right? Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. I got a little bit of a bellyache. Time to do something about that. Appreciate you again. Thanks. Later.
Thank you, Mr. Alex Walton. You got it for me.
Actually, I go by Big Daddy now. But anyway, Joe, my pleasure. See you next week.